G'day folks. Well, I've got it all ready pretty much to install the engine. I've got it all back together and I've just put 2.5 litres of oil through it to prime it. Oh God, that's a good thing, this accumulator, guys. I'm actually going to run it back in the car. I've had second thoughts on it all, guys. Not that I had oiling issues with my engine, but I thought, no, I'm going to run it. I've got it here. I might as well use it. So I'm going to mount it into the cab. I've got a little bit of extra dash 10 up there, and I'll run the accumulator in the cab because I don't want any extra weight over the front. And I think it's going to be a great aid, especially in priming the engine. After leaving it for a while, you can always flick it on and get some oil through it for a really good oil pressure on startup. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't think it's a bad thing. Well, guys, I'll show you this now before I get priming the motor. This is the oil Scav fittings that I run in the back of the heads to evacuate the oil out. That's the trouble with this style of motor, you see. There's no restrictors through the push rods. We're not limiting any oil getting up into the heads. And what happens is high revs, huge or big oil pressure, we're sending huge volumes of oil up into the head. If we can't get rid of it quick enough, we're going to starve our sump dry. So we need to be able to return it back to the sump as quick as we can. And I think the trick really to my success in this instance is capacity, 9.7 litres of oil capacity, combined with the scavenge pump that pulls any oil that builds up in the heads straight back into the sump. I've got extra breathers that I run in the manifold that vent to atmosphere to equalise the pressure inside the engine. Because what happens is, guys, if you don't do that and you just rely on breathing out of your rocker covers, you end up getting a high pressure zone come up, or a lot of blow-by come up through your heads, and you can't get the oil back down because the oil won't want to travel back down if there's a rush of air coming up through to vent out through your rocker covers. So by running extra breathers in the manifold, we can reduce that effect and hopefully get some oil back down as it builds up in there to gravity drain, plus with the oil scavenge out of the heads. And you know what, guys? I've had no dramas whatsoever since doing this system about 2 years ago, and it's been unbelievable. But I am, I am going to run the accumulator. I've just got thinking about it, and it's not going to hurt, guys. It's really not going to hurt. It's probably a good thing at the end of the day. Okay, well, let's prime it. I've got it all ready set again, guys, to show you how it works, and with a bit of luck, you'll see a bit of oil come up through the push rods and bleed out through here. It's really nice. It's nice to see. At least now, I'll have a full load all through the galleys, pushing in through the bearings and cam bearings, and even maybe half prime. I don't know if it'll prime the lifters because they sort of got to get working to sort of build their hydraulic, to fill up. But at least it's got half a chance now. When I do kick it over, it's going to get oil pressure pretty much straight away. I've put assembly lube in the gears, so we've got plenty of that in the gears. We've got a full load of oil in the filter. So now, when I go to fire it up, the gears are sealed, so that'll pull oil beautifully up through the pickup, and then obviously we're going to be primed pretty much straight away. So it's not going to be long running, and it'll get good oil pressure. All right, folks, well, let's see. I've got around 80 psi of oil pressure in there now. Or pressure in the canister. What I did, guys, to start with, I obviously undid the fittings. I bled the air out of, because there's a piston in it, I bled the air out of the piston side and returned it all the way back up here. Then I filled it up with oil. It took about 2.5 litres of oil, and I've pressured it up there around 80 psi, so it would have sort of brought the piston down a little bit, but it's going to die pretty quick. So all I've got to do now is just keep adding some air to it, and that'll just keep forcing the piston and pushing out the oil through the engine. I'll just do it nice and slowly so you get a bit of an idea, guys. Okay, I'm about to get on the lever, and here we go, losing oil pressure. I can hear it. I reckon I'll have to put a little bit more air in it, guys. What have we got? 40. Whoa, can hear it. Oh dear. There it goes. See, it's bleeding out of that one. Wow. That's awesome, guys. That's a great way of priming your engine before startup. What I'll do, I'll close the valve. Just bear with me on this one, guys. I'll see if I can see if you can get a bit of a shot. Yeah, you can hear it. I'll just put some oil, some air pressure in it, and we'll go again. At 80 psi. Back in it again. I'll just back the lever off. You can see a bit of oil coming out of there. There it goes. Oh, that's awesome. God, that works well. What a great little trick. Nourishing that motor. We know it's all through the galleys. Coming out through the conrod bearings and main bearings, or the mains, then the conrods. Wow, how cool is that? I'll give it another prime. I'm still on 60 pound. Here we go. I'll leave it fully open. You can see it dropping down, just that little bit each time. Wow. It's unbelievable. Gee, it works well. Well, there you go, guys. Now look at that. That's unreal. That's just that tiny little bit of oil bleeding out through there. You could imagine that under big revs. They would be pouring. They'd be just shooting oil up there flat out. Yeah, goodness me. That's why you've got to try and get it back into the sub as quick as you can, because you just run it dry. I can guarantee you, I reckon that's what a lot of guys are suffering, you know, when these old Holden motors. And I don't reckon it'd be just the Holdens that suffer this. A lot of the old school stuff. I heard even RB engines can suffer this too if you're not careful. It's just knowing the little tricks, guys, to get the oil out of the heads and get it back into the engine or back into the sump quick smart. Quick turnaround. That's the key to success and key to longevity. Because once you start getting surge, that's the end of it. It really is. You haven't got a chance. That's the end of them. All right, folks. Well, we're very close now. I've had a little tidy up. We're all organised. I'm going to bolt the transmission to it. I'll do that early next week. And with a bit of luck, I'll have that engine sitting in there in the next 4 or 5 days. And I'll do a vid then and show you guys when she's all sitting in there. But, oh God, I'm happy, folks. I'm so happy with it. I think this is going to be a great little combination, you know, guys. It's like I said in the other few vids back, it's all my knowledge bottled up into one little engine. It's got the stage 2 pump. It's got all the good stuff in it. It's all my knowledge bottled up into this little engine, you know, guys. So I hope and pray that she's a little beauty. By the way, I'm not going to paint the block either. I'm just going to leave it. I think it looks okay. Doesn't look too bad. All right, guys. Well, I'll pop one up soon. I hope you enjoyed this little engine freshen and build. It's been very interesting, to say the least, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's been fantastic. I've got some other little things coming up aside from the engine, guys. I've got a friend that's races a HQ. He had a little mishap. I won't mention his name, but he had a little mishap and lost his rear wheel, snapped an axle, and I found out that I'm running the same or very similar axles to him. So I'm not real keen, guys, going racing again the way this is set up. So I'm going to go down and put a full floating setup in it and a disc brake, but I'm actually going to keep this one complete. I'll do some testing in it, but I'm not going to do any full-on stuff until I get this full floating hub setup done, and I'm going to nut it all out, work it all out, see what my best options are, and I'll go down that road, because at the end of the day, that's the last thing I need, lose a wheel. Alright guys, well I'll pop one up soon. Hope you are enjoying it. I certainly am. I'll put one up soon. Catch you later.